All right, everybody, welcome back. We are taking another deep dive today, and this time we are looking at Iagon.
Iagon, yeah.
And, we are looking at Iagon's own documentation for this one.
Right.
So this should be fun.
Yeah, getting right into the source material.
Yeah.
No secondhand accounts here.
Exactly. And this is a platform that is really aiming to, completely change
Oh, yeah.
how we even think about digital storage and computing.
Yeah, it's really looking towards the future and rethinking some of the assumptions that we've had for so long, with the big tech companies. Um,
Yeah, and you might be surprised to hear this, but this is not just for the tech giants.
no.
This is about empowering everyday people like you and me.
That's right.
I mean, imagine a world where you could earn money from your computer's extra storage space.
Yeah, just sitting there doing nothing.
Or what if accessing, massive computing power
Right.
was as easy as booking a hotel room online?
Yeah, just a couple clicks.
That's the kind of future that Iagon is building. And we're going to break down exactly how
Yeah, how it all works and how blockchain plays a role and all that.
blockchain is in there too.
Yeah.
So Iagon is tackling this really big problem that I think we all kind of face in the digital age.
Yeah, so, we all use those big centralized storage solutions,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Google Drive, Dropbox.
Exactly, things like that. And they can be really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they lack transparency, you don't really know what's happening with your data.
Right. Where's it even going?
Exactly, and it raises a lot of privacy concerns,
Yeah,
Who has access to my data? What are they doing with it?
definitely. So how does Iagon fix this?
So Iagon is creating this decentralized marketplace for storage and computing power.
Okay.
So instead of relying on those few big companies,
Right.
Iagon is sort of creating this network where anybody can participate.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so think of it like Airbnb, but for your digital stuff.
Okay.
So instead of renting out a spare room,
You're renting out my hard drive space.
exactly, you're renting out your computer's unused storage space to other people who need it.
Wow. And you can get paid for that.
That's amazing. So I'm basically turning my computer into a mini data center.
Yeah, pretty much. And the cool thing is that this shift from centralized to decentralized control has huge implications.
Right.
Because it means potentially lower costs for users,
Yep.
more control of your own data,
That's a big one.
and a way to actually earn money from your unused resources.
That's fantastic. So let's talk more about this Iagon storage,
Oh, okay.
Ion storage thing.
Sure. So they've created this user-friendly desktop app called the Iagon Storage Node,
Okay.
and it lets you easily contribute your extra storage to the Iagon network.
It's as simple as downloading an app?
Yeah, and it kind of runs in the background,
Oh, okay, cool.
And the more storage you share, the more rewards you can earn.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So it's kind of a cool way to turn your computer's idle time into a potential income stream.
Right. And you're helping people out, too.
Exactly.
People who need that storage.
Yeah, so this all sounds pretty amazing, but I do have to admit that it sounds a bit intimidating to someone who's not a tech expert.
Sure.
What does it actually take to set up one of these nodes?
Well, so initially, Iagon is focusing on enterprise-grade and trusted nodes,
Okay.
to ensure reliability of the network.
Right.
But they have really clear requirements and instructions
Oh.
to make the process as straightforward as possible,
Okay.
even for people who aren't, super tech savvy.
So they don't want to leave anyone out.
Right, yeah, and they're working towards a future where literally anybody can easily participate.
Okay, so anybody could just download this app and start contributing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really cool.
Mhm.
So we've been talking about storage, but it's not just about storage, right?
Mhm.
There's also this Iagon Compute.
Yeah, so Ida Compute lets you access this vast network of computing resources.
Okay.
It's kind of like having a global supercomputer at your fingertips. Yeah, it's pretty powerful, and it uses a tiered system, kind of like choosing different levels of service.
Okay.
So if you're just storing photos, you might choose a basic tier.
Right.
But if you're a scientist running complex simulations, you'd opt for a higher tier with more power and reliability.
So there's a tier for everyone in every use case.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So, all this sounds great, but what's in it for the people who are actually contributing their storage or their computing power?
Right.
How does Iagon actually incentivize participation?
Well, that's where the Liquidity Providers Rewards Program comes in,
Okay.
or LSPO for short.
LSPO, got it.
And by participating in the LSPO, you're directly supporting the Iagon network,
Okay.
and you earn rewards for your contribution.
Cool. So it's like a win-win.
Exactly, yeah. You're helping the network grow, and you're getting rewarded for it.
And it's a way for the community to actually shape the platform's future.
Right, it's not just some company dictating everything.
I like that. So if I'm understanding this correctly, I'm not just a user on Iagon. I'm an active participant.
That's right.
I'm helping to build this new ecosystem.
Exactly. And as we've kind of been alluding to throughout this conversation, Iagon relies on blockchain technology to make all of this possible.
Right.
Blockchain ensures that transactions are transparent.
Okay.
It guarantees the security of your data.
That's a big one.
And it provides this framework for fair compensation.
So can you give me an example of how blockchain is actually used in Iagon?
Sure. So when you store data with Iagon, it's encrypted and then it's distributed across the network using blockchain,
Okay.
which makes it way more secure than traditional centralized storage.
Because it's not all in one place.
Right. It's not all in one place, and no single entity has access to your whole data set.
It's like pieces of a puzzle scattered all over the place.
Exactly. And even if someone managed to get one piece, they wouldn't be able to see the whole picture.
I see. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that Iagon wants to give individuals more control over their data.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, I'm a little bit skeptical because how can I be sure that my data is really safe on this decentralized network?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, security is always a top concern when we're talking about our personal data.
For sure.
But with Iagon, your data is actually broken down and encrypted like we were talking about.
Okay.
And different pieces are stored on different nodes across the network.
So there's no single point of failure.
Exactly. There's no single point of failure, and no one entity has access to your entire data set.
So even if one of those nodes gets compromised.
Right. They're only getting a tiny piece of the puzzle.
Right. And they don't have the keys to put it all together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Iagon also uses advanced encryption techniques to make sure that only you, the owner of the data, can access it.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel a lot better.
Good.
It's great to hear that they're taking security so seriously.
Yeah, definitely.
Another thing that we touched on earlier is that Iagon is focusing on these enterprise-grade nodes initially.
Right.
And I'm wondering, doesn't that kind of limit accessibility for, everyday users like me?
Yeah, that's a good point. And, I think it's important to acknowledge that while the initial focus is on those trusted nodes,
Right.
it's really to ensure, that stability and reliability of the network.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to start with a solid foundation.
Exactly. And Iagon's roadmap really emphasizes their goal of making participation accessible for everyone eventually.
Okay.
They're actively working on simplifying the process of setting up and running nodes.
Oh, that's great.
So eventually, anyone with a computer and an internet connection should be able to join the network.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that. So just to recap, Iagon is creating this decentralized marketplace for storage and computing power.
Yes.
And this allows individuals to actually monetize their resources
Right.
and access these really powerful tools while keeping their data safe and secure.
Exactly. And you know what I find really exciting about all this?
Yeah.
Is that it's creating a much more equitable and accessible tech landscape.
Right.
It's not just for the big players anymore.
Exactly. So it kind of begs the question, if we take this idea further
Yeah.
and storage and computing power become truly democratized, what kind of world could we build?
Yeah, what innovation?
What problems could we solve?
Yeah, what opportunities would be unlocked for individuals,
Right.
businesses, and even entire communities?
Yeah, it's really exciting to think about.
It is.
Maybe we'll see a whole wave of new technologies and applications that we can't even imagine right now.
Exactly. And I think that's the beauty of decentralization. It empowers people to create and innovate in ways that we haven't even thought of yet.
Well, that is definitely something to think about.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking us on this deep dive into the world of Iagon.
It's my pleasure.
It's clear that this platform has the potential to, really change the way we think about data and technology.
Absolutely. And it's an exciting space to watch.
It is.
I can't wait to see what the future holds for Iagon and for the decentralized web as a whole.
I'm with you there. And for all of you listening, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive into the world of cutting-edge technology. But until then, keep exploring and stay curious.
Stay curious.
See you next time.
Bye, everybody.